Hello guys, welcome back to Katawa Shoujo. My name is Negacious. What's going on? In the last episode, we continued the Hanako route. We unfortunately got wrapped up in some student council shenanigans after we apparently didn't pay enough attention to Shizune, and we got to talk privately with Misha for the first time ever, which was cool. Because I think that Misha is really an interesting character, or Misha and Shizune, because they work together as a unit to communicate Shizune's thoughts, but Misha, of course, has her own thoughts, which I think is really interesting. And that's going to probably be one of the more interesting parts of the Shizune route, to be honest. Also, we woke up at 6 a.m. because of goddamn birds going chirp, chirp, motherfucker, wake up! And we went to get breakfast, and Lily was there. And after a little while, she asked us why we ended up being friends with Hanako. And after disclosing that fact, she invited us to have tea in her room. And she and Hanako were there. We had a jolly good time drinking tea, and now it's the next morning. We're ready to go to class. Let's go. I pull my door closed, ready for another day of classes. Of course it's Kenji. Sleep well! Kenji's sudden arrival makes me jump, and I narrowly avoid butting heads with him. I know he has poor eyesight, but he knows who I am now. Does he still have to stand this close? Oh, yeah, like a baby. Damn! Why do people say that? Have you ever heard a baby sleep? They scream all night, every night. Babies don't sleep well, ever. Well, there goes my restful state. I have to remember to never use figures of speech with Kenji. Alright, I get your point. It was a figure of speech. Yeah, sure, whatever. Where were you last night? I had a favor to ask, but you weren't around. For a split second, I considered telling Kenji the truth, that I was spending time with Hanako and Lily. Thankfully, that split second passes as soon as it came. I was just out, checking out the local area and stuff. You know, recon. Good man, good. I knew you were the type to plan ahead. Anyway, what was this favor you wanted? I was going to get some takeout, but I needed change. Wait, what? I gave you money last week and you still haven't paid me back. And here I was starting to think that you were cool. Kenji fishes around his pocket and produces his wallet. As soon as he counts out the 400 yen he owes me, I can clearly see at least two 10,000 yen notes. Hey, what the hell? Why are you borrowing money off me when you've got that much cash? Kenji hisses a little, realizing that he's been had. Get off my case, man! It's bad luck to break a big note for anything less than half its value. It's the tycoon's rule. Last night's dinner is going to cost me around 7 years of bad luck. 7 years! Don't you think that's enough cause to help someone out? I'd get a shorter sentence if I just stole the stuff. My common sense screams at me to say something to him, but thankfully I restrain myself. Arguing a point like this with Kenji will just lead to further and more complicated discussions. Yeah, I guess you're right. Maybe you should plan these things a little better. Yeah, man, I know, but I've just so much stuff to do. It's hard, and you're never around anymore, so I'm on my own. We're supposed to be brothers in Brotherhood, remember? Assassin's Creed. Yeah, I get you. Global conspiracy and such. I'll keep my ear to the ground. Kenji draws close enough to me to get a clear whiff of his garlic-tainted breath. You'd better, man. You're already spending less time here. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Friggin' salesman. Okay. You'd better, man. You're already spending less time here. That's the first thing you do. They do. They'll try to split us up, divide and conquer. Sun Tzu said that. Roger that. Now I've gotta be going. I've got classes. You coming? Nah, I'm tired. I stayed up all night just to make sure nothing was going to happen after splitting that note. As rational as ever, I see. Whatever, night. Kenji scurries back into his room and I hear him throwing his locks as I walk down the hallway. That is why some people can't roll their tongue, or why their second toe is longer than their big toe. Muto beams a half-moon smile at us, obviously proud of his explanation of recessive genes. However, no matter how impressed he is at the science that defines who we are, the classroom seems to be reduced to a stupor. Why is it that a bad explanation can make even the most interesting things seem worthless? I can see Muto deflate as he realizes that nothing he said in the past half hour has sunk in. Whispered conversations start to break the silence, and like an avalanche, the noise level in the class starts to rise. Defeated, Muto identifies some questions from the textbook and sets to clearing off the blackboard. Almost as if expected, Hanako packs up her things and leaves as soon as people start talking and laughing among themselves. I like... Muto is... he's like... he's a cool character. Like, he's the epitome of like that... kind of like... what's the adjective for it? He's like the epitome of that kind of like chill, well, not chill teacher, but like really going by his own pace, I guess. Like he's not keeping up like too much of a discipline. It's just that he just like teaches what he needs to teach, and if it doesn't sink in, he doesn't like complain about it, but just moves on. But like, I think it fits this story really well. I think Muto is really nicely written. The initial shock of seeing someone play so blatantly truant has started to fade, but it doesn't stop me from wondering. Is she leaving because she doesn't want people to speak to her? Or is it just the thought of people around her shattering her peace? Before I can think about the topic any further, the lunch bells ring. I wonder if she was simply taking the opportunity to leave early. The usual clamor of students exchanging books for lunch reverberates around the room, and while Misha is distracted, I grab my lunch and head out the door. Lily already sits in the tea room, setting out her lunch alone. So, Hanako's not here then? Oh, Hisao, how are you? I have not met Hanako since this morning, I'm afraid. That's right, Hanako and Lily live next to each other. Somehow, I think their morning conversations are slightly more grounded than Kenji's ramblings. That's strange. She left class early, so I figured she'd be coming here. So, she's still leaving class early. Huh? Yeah, I've seen her do it a few times. Lily drops her head a little, and her tone of voice is notably depressed. It's very reminiscent of someone who is used to be hearing bad news. I was so sure that she'd stop doing that once you two became friends. Everyone has their own pace, I suppose. Well, I was wondering about that just today. Why exactly does she leave? I am not entirely sure myself. I personally think it's because she does not want to be put in a situation where she has to answer someone. I have a flashback of my first meeting with her, when I thought she looked like a cornered animal. Maybe I wasn't far from the truth. But she seems to be fine with talking to you and with me a bit. It is a little more complex than that. I imagine that the first thing most people ask about her is her scars and what happened. She rarely talks about it with me, but I can tell that she does not like to remember whatever happened back then. Leaving class and running away from discussions is her preemptive strike, if you will. Huh. So then, how does that explain her talking to me? You said it yourself today at breakfast. You tried to ignore her scars. Once she saw that you were not going to ask her about that, she opened herself up to you. Makes sense. Kinda. Huh. I guess you're right. Maybe. I don't know. You know her better than I, so I'll take your word for it. I wouldn't worry about that. I'm sure you'll come to know her as well as I do, soon enough. I welcome the prospect of having a new friend, and the two of you have such similar interests. Well, I hardly count reading as a team sport. It is good to have company, though. That is my point. Hanako is still an average person at heart. She also wants the company at times like that. I see. I think. To be honest, both of you still confuse me a little. That is only natural, Hisao. We've only known each other for a little while. It's unreasonable to expect you to understand us, just as we cannot understand you. But that is half the fun of becoming friends, right? Yes it is. Although, I suppose there is the matter of us being opposite genders. Men and women do seem to confuse each other quite often. She says this with a light giggle, finding amusement at the odd little details of life. I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to start eating. No, go ahead. I think I'll eat something too. I've got some books I want to drop back at the library before classes start, so I'd better get a move on. You will probably find Hanako there as well. If you do see her, can you tell her to stop by my room later tonight? I'd like to talk to her. You're not coming? Unfortunately, I have class representatives meetings later, so I'll be gone as soon as I've finished my lunch. Okay then. If I don't see her at the library, then I'll tell her in class. I'm sure she'll be back after lunch. We fall silent as we start to eat, and I take a second to reflect on our conversation. I've always thought that Hanako's shyness was simply due to her being self-conscious of her scars. But that is a pretty superficial way of looking at her. Just when I thought I was able to see through the fog of Lily and Hanako, I realized that I'm more lost than where I started. Lily quickly finishes her lunch, acutely aware of her meeting. I don't blame her. Shizune is most likely going to be there, and I doubt she wants to give her the satisfaction of another argument. I must be off. Same time tomorrow? Same time, same channel. I'd better head off too. I don't want to risk being late. Lily smiles gently, picks up her cane, and walks out into the hall. I turn my back on Lily as we head in opposite directions. For some reason, I find myself hoping she doesn't get into another fight with Shizune. As much as I like Lily, Shizune and Misha have been pretty instrumental in helping me adjust. Even in half our conversations are thinly veiled recruitment attempts. Then again, I barely know either of them. Maybe they were previously leaders of some kind of secret society, but their love for each other drove them apart. Man, I need to stop reading cheap fiction. It's rotting my brain. Either that, or I've got to move away from Kenji and his bad influence. It's sad that I can't tell the two apart anymore. I slide my books down the return chute and they crash into the cart with a pleasant thud. Called it. I knew she was going to come crashing up. Yuko, however, doesn't seem as impressed as I. Hisao! You scared me! Sorry, I thought you would be used to that now. Or is the literacy level here so low that nobody borrows any books? Huh? No, I think everyone here can read fine. Yeah, never mind. There are some battles that you can never win. Trying to explain jokes is one of them. My dad taught me that the hard way. Say, Yuko, have you seen Hanako about? She left class early, but she wasn't in her usual hiding place. I think I saw her sneak in before lunch. Oh, but I'm not supposed to tell anyone that. I just told you that I saw her leave, so no need to stress out. Oh, of course. She's probably in the back. Thanks. Get any new books in recently? No, sorry. I'll let you know when we do, though. Okay. If there's one thing I know about librarians, part-time or otherwise, it's that they appreciate people who take a genuine interest in their work. I walk now the now familiar path to Hanako's reading nook, picking out a few titles along the way. Sometimes I find it hard to discover a book that'll interest me among the shelves. An author's name and a two-word title don't mean much in a sea of similar worlds. Words, God. Similar words. That's what I was trying to say. For that reason, I sometimes reread books that I read in the past. Better to get on than the favorite than a new runner. An unfamiliar title from the familiar author peeks out among the spines of its neighbors, so I remove it from the shelf. At least I'm not going over old material. As expected, Hanako sits on her beanbag, buried deep in a copy of Dance Dance Dance. Hi Hanako, how's it going? I fight back to the urge to ask why she left class early. If Lily's suspicions were right, then asking her about that could have the opposite effect. Best to leave it for the time being. Sometimes the best way to get an answer from someone is to never ask the question. Hello, Hisao. I'm fine. Something seems off, and after a couple of seconds, I realize what it is. Hanako's smiling. She looks as if she's pleased to see me. It's a nice change from the usual instinctively frightened reaction, and something I hope I can see more of as we get to know each other better. Good to hear. How's that book? I've heard that it's a trip. It's good, I think. I've only just started, so I don't really know. Fair enough. Let me know how it goes. I may borrow it once you're done. Sure. There's a good 15 minutes left in lunch. Not enough to really get into a book, but too much to stand around doing nothing. And Hanako's already returned to her reading, so I doubt I'll get much conversation from her. Oh well, I'd better make myself comfortable. I slouch into a beanbag and crack open my book. The familiar style of the author leaps out at me from the very first line. As sentences turn into paragraphs, I start to relax a little. But no matter how I try, I can't seem to get myself into the atmosphere of the book. This is partly due to the lack of time, but the more distracting factor is Hanako. That little sprite change with her eye looking at me for like a split second. Every 10 or so seconds, she peers over the top of her book, but when our eyes meet, she quickly ducks behind the covers. I guess she did want to talk about something after all. What's up? You look like a prairie dog on lookout. It's nothing. I've told you before, nothing means something when you say it like that. Hanako squirms a little in her beanbag, hoping that by changing her position she'll find the words she's looking for. Oh. I was in an accident. Accident? Just now. Are you alright? Hanako shakes her head, her hair flowing around her shoulders in wisps of amethyst on the background of pale and dark flesh. Are we really going to her backstory now? No, when I was younger. This is a new song, I think. Painful history. I don't like the sound of that track. Realization crashes me like into me like a semi. When I was. It's alright, Hanako. You don't have to tell me anything if you don't want to. Whoa! Again, she shakes her head.
No, I won't. I have to tell you.
Okay, prepare for the field trip.
When I was young, I was in a fire. My house burned down, and I nearly didn't make it. After that, I was alone.
Did her parents die in the fire? Hanako's eyes glisten in the dim light of the library, and I reach out to grasp her hand. It's okay, Hanako. You don't have to keep going.
But I have to. I have to.
Why? What brought this on?
Last night, Lily told me about your heart. And I didn't think it was fair.
Fair?
That I knew about you, but you didn't know about me.
Oh. I squeeze Hanako's hand a little. Don't be silly. But yes, I do have a heart condition. I lean a little closer to Hanako. What I didn't tell Lily is that I had my first heart attack when a girl confessed to me. I smile a little to break the tension.
Really?
Really. I haven't heard from her for a while though, so I guess it's all over. I know it's all over. There's no other way to interpret what happened the last time I saw her. In some ways, not having heard from her again has helped me move on from that period of my life. This track is... holy shit, this is good. Like, I love piano, but like this kind of high, like really, not melancholic, but like, really like reminiscent type melody is something that like hits me like straight into like my heart chambers. My feels chambers in my heart. So now we both know a little more about each other, but you don't have to talk about things you don't have to. In fact, I feel a little bad thinking about that whole incident. I can almost smell the hospital's disinfectant burning the back of my sinuses again. I imagine Hanako is going through the same thing now. When I was in the hospital, I went to the burn ward once, and only once. I was bored, so I went for a walk through all of the wards. I went through oncology, and thought I could take it, but when I got to the burn ward, I turned around and went back to my ward. To think that Hanako would have spent months in a place like that, smelling nothing but corrupted skin, strong disinfectant and sterilized air. The really bad cases were kept in isolated pods, so no foreign objects could enter. That would have meant no reading. I would have gone insane if I didn't have any of my books in the hospital. And she said that she was alone. Did her parents die? I'll have to ask Lily about it. I can imagine myself saying something dumb unintentionally.
Thank you, Hisao. I haven't told many people about this.
To be honest, I haven't told many people about my circumstances either.
Then I won't tell anyone either.
Oh, she's smiling again. Deal. I changed my grip on Hanako's hand into a handshake as the warning bells chimed through the window. Well then, we'd better head back to class then, huh?
Sure.
3, Castling. I'm sorry. For some reason, that Act 2 felt insanely fast. Like, Jesus Christ. But I think that's where we are going to drop off this episode of Katawa Shoujo. Thank you very much, you guys, for watching. We are on to Act 3 on Hanako's route. Like, what the hell? I think that was like 3 episodes, that Act 2. For some reason, it felt really short. I have no idea why. But yeah, I mean, I got a little, like, Jesus Christ, I have a feeling that when we go, like, into depth about Hanako's backstory, it's gonna be really brutal. And hard to read, to be honest. But I'm still looking forward to it. But yeah, on to Act 3. This was a good episode. I mean, Hanako is taking strides here to try and trust us. Also, with Lily being on the backlines, she's bringing an interesting tint to this route. Anyways, if you like this episode, please make sure to click that like button, comment down below. Any constructive feedback is welcome. If you want to get my videos into your sub-tab, please make sure to click that subscribe button and the bell button next to the subscribe button to get my videos to you the moment they go online. My name is Negacious. I'll see you in my next video.